Ogo.
So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. So Osinachi'S mother has granted a nerve-wracking, spine-chilling interview to BBC Igbo. So that interview was shocking to say the least. It revealed the excruciating trauma that Osinachi suffered in the hands of her husband. The interview was granted to BBC Igbo and it was conducted in Igbo language, which is the native tongue of Osinachi and her family. Ever since that interview aired, a lot of people have expressed frustrations that they do not comprehend what Osinachi'S mother was saying. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving a one-on-one interpretation, all the horrifying details and experiences that Osinachi'S mother shared with BBC Igbo. The kind of in-law I got, the kind of man that married my daughter, Osinachi. An Anambra man from Nnewi. The kinds of things I witnessed in the hands of that man. I did not know that such a thing exists in this life. Since he came into my home to marry my daughter, Osinachi, my daughter has never known peace. I myself have never known peace. He took her like a slave. He had no atom of regard for her. He does to her as he pleases. When my daughter got married, it took 8 good years after before I set my eyes on her. When she gave birth, the husband didn't inform me that my daughter has put to bed. It was other people that came to tell me. Strangers were the ones that informed me. I then called my daughter and asked her, and she admitted to have indeed given birth. I called the husband and he retorted that I should not give him any trouble, that he will do as he pleases. I then asked him, "You will do as you please on my own child? You would act as you want? That is bad. It is not good at all," I told him. "But when you were coming for my daughter's hand, you said you're a pastor, and I accepted you with open arms." But when he started acting out of line, I then asked him, "But I thought you said you are a pastor." He responded, "And so what?" I told him that what we are seeing now is not what we first saw. He replied that he has married Osinachi and does not owe me anything. I then told him that since my daughter just delivered, I would like to come over to take care of her and her new baby. But he said I shouldn't dare come, that he doesn't want to see me. I kept quiet, then called my daughter Osinachi and told her that I want to come nurse her and her new baby. Osinachi then asked me, "What did my husband say when you told him?" I responded that your husband said he doesn't want to see me. Osinachi then said it's okay, that I should stay back and I shouldn't bother coming. People will be narrating to me the ordeal my daughter is passing in the hands of her husband, but my daughter refused to reveal her sufferings to me. Her neighbor called me sometime to intervene urgently in Osinachi's situation. I immediately called Osinachi and asked her, "How are you and your husband living together? Is everything okay?" Osinachi said there is no need for that question, that they are living in peace. Before long, she had the second child. This time, she called me by herself to please come, that she is close to death, and that no one is taking care of her, that she is suffering, and what her husband Peter is doing to her is too much for her to bear. Peter had promised that if Osinachi does not leave his house alive, she was going to leave dead. I looked up, looked down. I then called my first daughter to please come and help us to rescue Osinachi and bring her back home. What does he mean by if she doesn't go alive, she would leave his house dead? After our discussion, my first daughter then agreed that she would go. She got ready and left for Abuja. Arrived Abuja and brought Osinachi back. Her new baby was only 3 months old and the older baby was only 2 years. And that was how we stayed for 1 year and 3 months until Peter started coming back for her. I then told him that since you said my daughter would come back home dead or alive, please, she is not coming back to your house. We are not interested in this marriage anymore. The period that you both have stayed married is enough. Leave her alone. Osinachi then opened her mouth. I will speak the truth. Osinachi said to me, Mama, Christ said that what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. I will go back to my husband's house. I begged her not to go back. Rather, let her remarry. She said, no, I will not remarry. I have married both in the church and traditionally, and that's final. And that was how her husband took her back to Abuja. And very shortly after, he continued maltreating her in his usual fashion. I didn't know where they resided in Abuja. The first baby, I wasn't allowed to come to take care of my daughter and her child. The same thing happened for the second one. He couldn't stand seeing me or any member of my family, whether we are alive or dead. He didn't care. My first son died. Peter never came. He didn't come. I kept quiet, looking up to the heavens and my God. At a point, I took ill, very ill. Osinachi pleaded and pleaded with her husband to let me come to their house so she could take care of her sick mother. But the husband put his foot down that I will never step into their home. After much begging and third-party interference, Peter finally accepted and then I came. I only spent 1 month in Peter's house before he threw me out. He sent I and my son packing. And that was how we left. Osinachi then called one woman to please assist her take in their mother, that Peter Wachuku has sent them out. If there is any place to keep us, let her please keep us. This Delta woman then came to our rescue and took us into her home. That was where I stayed while going for my treatment. I was there for 2 months before I returned home. Since then, my daughter got married to Peter. Oh, if this is how marriage is, it's better she never got married. What pains me deeply is him saying if my daughter did not live alive, she must live in death. But look at it now. My daughter has left in debt. She has left in debt. My child took ill in January, but after a short while, she got better. In February, it came back again and left. They were going about trying to trace the cause from one lab to another, one place to another. But they couldn't find anything. Everywhere they went, nothing. But it is today Today that I am hearing with my ears that Peter said my daughter has cancer. But that same Peter used his mouth to say there was nothing wrong or found in Osinachi. I and my daughter spoke day before yesterday on Wednesday. We discussed and she was telling me, Mama, it's okay. It's just a slight headache. What I saw is too much for me to say, but judgment, I know, is in God's hands. The God that sees all done in secret and in the open. My daughter was suffering, going from place to place, making money and bringing home. Peter, on the other hand, was jobless. But that one does not hurt me. What pains me is that my daughter does all these things with a joyful heart and a cheerful spirit. But Peter will not stop beating her. He will not stop insulting her. He will not stop doing unthinkable things to her. My child will be bearing it. If I tell my child, come oh, this man will kill you, he has already promised to do it, she will say, we have agreed to stay married. He will change. I told her, this man cannot change. Then only yesterday, we spoke on Wednesday. I called her and she answered. I asked her how she was doing and she said fine. I showered her with blessings that she would keep progressing all her life. I offered thanks to God for all He has done in the life of my daughter. She then told me that the nurse needed to examine her, that she was going to call me back thereafter. It was afternoon then. When it was getting late and she hadn't called me, I called her, but she didn't respond. Called and called, no response. I waited till morning and called again. No response still. I began calling Amara, her twin. I asked her if she had spoken to her twin sister. Oh, what Peter did to my daughter. I cannot finish talking about it. But it's God who created heaven and earth that knows all He did to my child. Peter eventually called me by 8 p.m. at night, but my child died in the morning. The person who first informed me of my own child's death was an Igbo woman, just a friend of Osinachi. Osinachi had asked the lady to prepare a meal for her. And when she arrived with the food, Osinachi was not in her ward. Osinachi was not on her bed. She had already been moved to the morgue. This man then called me around 8 p.m. But when I heard that Osinachi had passed, I called and called and called him. He refused to pick my call. Until that 8 o'clock, he called with Osinachi's number. I asked him, how are you all doing? He said fine. I asked him about the children. He said they are okay too. I then asked him, what about Osinachi? He said, Osinachi went towards afternoon time. I asked him, went to where? Went where? He said she died. I said, Osinachi died, eh? So you have made good your threats. You promised us that if she didn't live alive, she would live in death. God would be the judge of this. Her twin sister had gone to visit Osinachi when this illness started. He refused to let her enter the hospital, let alone come close to Osinachi. Her brother is in the same city of Abuja. If the brother goes to visit her, he will send him away. My child will be begging to come and see her sibling. He will refuse. I from here would be begging him that Osinachi has small children and needs help, and that he should allow her family visit her. But he always refused. He said that he knows how to take care of the wife by himself and how he wishes. In all honesty, I am extremely hurt, but God knows everything. God knows best. Since he looked at someone like me and allowed a man like Peter Wachuku to come to me, I will say, God, in everything, take thanks. The 4 children that my daughter gave birth to, since they were born, they do not know my place. I haven't seen them, save for back then when their mother came back home. Then they were only 2. If these children asked to visit me, their grandmother, he would say no, that there are no ties linking them with me. And guys, that is a sad, sad account that Osinachi'S mother has given. A lot of new information have come up. One is the news that Osinachi'S husband indeed had a second wife. And another is the fact that today, Wednesday, the post-mortem examination to ascertain the remote cause of Osinachi'S demise will be conducted on her remains today. I'm going to bring us updates on all of that. Hearing Osinachi'S mother give this story is indeed nerve-chilling. It is shocking. It is unbelievable. It is very, very difficult to imagine. Just as I promised, I'll bring to us up-to-date information, bring us up to speed as to the latest information that pertains to Osinachi, her marriage, and her demise. So stay glued for all of that. It's me, your girl, Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.